I would like to welcome you to our broadcast tonight. And I'm not going to be long. I'll say this to those that are watching me tonight. I'll say this. There has been an expectation and a desire that you've had. And I believe that expectation or that desire is about to come forth. I believe that some of you that are watching me under the sound of my voice, that this is the season where you are pregnant. Yes. When a woman finds out she's pregnant, the words of the terminology or phrase that she uses is "I'm expecting." And I believe that today, that if you're watching me because of your expectation, you are expecting. Yes. This is the season where some of you are about to give birth. Y'all, please hear me. Woo. Woo. This thing that has been locked up in you, this thing that has been growing in you, this thing that has been increasing in you, I'll explain it. You may have an idea. I don't know why I feel like I need to start a business. I don't know why I feel like it's time for me to buy a house. I don't know why I feel like it's time for me to leave my job. You may be feeling that way. Yes, listen to me, please hear me. There are two things that wait for your expectation, for your birthing. First is Hebrew chapter 11, verse 6. States, "For without faith it is impossible to please him." Hear this. If you please him, God said he's a rewarder of them that have the expectation or diligently seek him. Yes, this thing that you have been carrying. Please hear what I'm saying. Some of you have grown to the point or to the place like a pregnancy, your water has broke. Just the water has broke. You've been crying because of this thing that you've been carrying. Your water has come to the place where now it is broke. Please hear me. And tonight is your due date. Yes, the date that was due for you to give birth, for this thing now to come forth. And God is allowing me to express and to teach you tonight that you have entered into your last trimester. Yes, your last trimester. Your last trimester. And because of your expectation, it has reached heaven. It is sitting before his throne. And the thing that is within you, it must now come out of you. Oh. Y'all, just please hear me. When a baby is ready to come out of the womb, that child will start kicking, pushing his hands. As John the Baptist would leap when he found the salutation of Mary, it was the sign that this child was ready to come out of the womb. And this gift, this plan, this purpose, God's destiny, has been kicking to come out. This is the season for it to come out. This is the season for what you have heard, what you have anticipated, what you have expected. This is the season for that thing that's been within you, that you've incubated, that you've nurtured. Hey, woo! This is the season for that thing now to come out. Hear me. God blesses because of the expectation. Because expectation is a sign of your faith. Yes, you've carried this thing long enough. Yes, please hear me. You've carried it long enough to where it captivated God's attention. But the next verse is in Romans chapter 8, where it said that the earth has an earnest expectation and waits for the manifestation of the sons of God or daughters of God. I want you to hear me. Because of your expectation, even the earth has an expectation of your transformation. So the earth is ready for you to give birth. The heavens are ready. The earth is aligned for you to bring forth what's in you. The expectation. This is your birthing season. This is the season where God is going to allow you to give birth. Yes, all of your pain, your frustration, your sorrows, your sadness, your tears were only signs of birth pains. Ooh. It was only signs of your birth pains. Y'all, please hear me. These were signs of birth pains because you have a birthright. You have a birthright. Yes. Because you are an heir and a joint heir with Christ. You have the birthrights. Yes, you have the right to give birth because of your expectation, because you're an heir and a joint heir with God. Please hear me. This is the season that this thing that you've been carrying will no longer be hidden. This thing will be revealed in this time. In this season, it will mature and manifest now. This is the season that you would hold what God has kept. This is your releasing season. And I believe that God is going to release you or release what's in you in this season. Yes. This is this season. You don't have to cry anymore. This was the reason for the struggles. I know many of you may have had children. Many of you may be pregnant now. Many of you can recall how you were when you were in your last trimester. I'll say this and then I'll get to my topic. That some of you, since you were in your last trimester normally changes a woman's walk. Her walk is completely different because of her pain. And some of you may be experiencing great pain. You know the terminology or the phrase or the words that they use. They use labor. Yes, some of you, God has placed you in a position or a place, watch this, where He's making you do the labor because of the birth pains. Time is of an essence. Time is now. This is the season for you to give birth. This is the season for it to come forth. This is the season for you to bring forth life. This is that season. As God will tell Abraham, I will return at the time of life. And some of you have waited your years, but you have entered into a season where this is the time of life. This is the time of life. Well, the life that God intends for you to have, or what we'll call the Zoe life. This Zoe life that God is in reference to, that this is the season for you to give birth. This is that season. Liberty, freedom is going to come. I'll say this and I'll try to jump out of this. I don't know where God's going with this. The Bible said, and the seeds shall produce after their own kind. Some of you, some of us, what's getting ready to come out of us will only mirror us. You know, when a child looks just like their mother, or a child looks just like their father, they'll say that it's the spitting image of you. Yes, it is the spitting image of you, mirror reflection. Some of you, what you have become and what you release is going to mirror you, okay? Some of you are going to walk into a house. I'll explain it. You will only walk into that house is because you have become the house of God. You have become that temple of the Holy Ghost where the Holy Ghost can reside. So you've given him a place to reside. So naturally, as you were spiritually, you were a spiritual house. So now God has to bring you into a natural house because you carry this thing in your spirit. You carry this thing within you. Now it has to reflect you because the houses have to align. Some of you needed a vehicle. And some of you, God is going to give you the vehicle that you desire or the vehicle that you need. Watch, because you have become the vehicle of heaven. Yes. Your mobility, your natural must mirror your spiritual. And I truly believe that this is the season for the mirroring. Oh, y'all hear me? Some men have been celibate. Some men now qualify for what Adam had qualified for. Yes, God never brought Adam a wife until he learned the process of what it is to be a husband. Yes. And some men have graduated into this role as a husband. So now the wife can come. So let me say this. There is a proclamation that goes out over men's head when your conversion takes place. When you become a husband, not just a man, then God speaks. Yes, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet. And some of you have crossed that threshing floor where you have now become the husband, so that the woman can now show up. Please hear me. This is that season. This is that hour. That because the woman, you have graduated, you have excelled, because God associated the woman as with the church. Yes, when you can become the church, women, yes, well, the gates of hell will not prevail against you. It was only designated and assigned to his church, but they would associate, love your wife like Christ loved the church. So God associates the wife with the church, that he would die for it, give himself for it. Y'all, please, can I say something tonight? And hopefully it don't offend men when I say it. The Bible said, love your wife like Christ loved the church and gave himself for it, right? It makes that statement. Watch this. If you find a husband that never surrenders his life, never lays down his life, could it be that you were never converted or finish your conversion of you being the wife? Because the husband is supposed to lay down his life like Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. Could it be that you have not been fully converted yet? That your husband have not committed to that capacity yet? It is the sign. Since we are talking about a husband, and since we are talking about a wife, I'll try to integrate this topic or subject tonight of vows. People never get married, or should never get married, without saying their vows. Vows are concrete covenants that exist, watch this, that are spoken in the earth, but that are knitted together in the heavens. Vows are concrete covenants that are spoken in the earth, but they are knitted in the heavens. So when a person makes a vow, it becomes legalized in the heavens just by you saying I do when you get married. And the two now become one just based on vows. And this is what we must understand, that if marriage is a covenant, but that covenant is tying you together and knitting you together with God, with heaven, and with your spouse. What make us believe that you are knitted together just with your words? How strong are your words that heaven will not allow you out of your words that you've established by a vow? Yes. This is how serious it is. To death do you part. Please hear me. This is by one vow. One vow, that there is no separation until your life expires by a vow. This is how serious and how significant vows are. If you can make a vow to your spouse, what happens if you make a vow with God? What happens if your vows are made to God? If you have to hold and stay committed to the statutes and the statutes that you made to your wife or your husband, do you think that you don't have to do the same thing with your God? Now, I want you to hear me tonight, okay? Because tonight is a serious subject for me. It's serious. When I was on my way home, I was asking God, what did he want me to share? What did he want to share with his chosen people? And I was on the phone with my wife, and something hit my spirit. He said vows. Now I'm gonna give you some scriptures because I want you to hear me tonight. I just want you to hear me. I want you to hear me tonight. Vows. I want us to go to Ecclesiastes chapter 5. Oftentimes we make vows without having understanding the significance of the vows that we make. And whether we realize it or not, God still holds you accountable to the vow that you spoke. Yes, he'll hold you accountable, even though you are not accountable. He still holds you accountable for the vows that you made. Verse 4 says, when thou vow a vow unto God, defer not to pay it. He hath no pleasure in fools. Pay that which thou hast vowed. Better is it that thou shouldest not vow than that thou shouldest vow and not pay. Suffer not thy mouth to cause thy flesh to sin. Neither say there before the angel that there was an error. Wherefore should God be angry at thy voice and destroy the works of thy hands? Now, most people have no idea how significant and how serious this is. I'm going to read this in another version so that some people may get a better idea or understanding of what it says. I'll read it in this version where it said, when you make a vow to God, do not delay to fulfill it. He has no pleasure in fools. Fulfill your vow. There's a couple of things that I want to talk about tonight. When you make a vow, it said do not delay it. The greatest challenge is when we make vows to God, often we think that we have time, and the enemy will fight you, bring all type of oppositions, so you never fulfill your obligation and your commitment that you made to God. So there are things that will never get done. There are things that will never be achieved in the time that God allowed it because you had made a vow. If you make a vow, it makes a statement, don't delay in doing it. Because there are so many things that will come up or come in your life that will get you to circumvent and waste time so the vows can never be made. As I'm telling you this, as I was driving home today, God just started reminding me of all the stuff where me and him had had conversations. Where me and him had conversation and vows that I made. He reminded me, and some of you may have forgotten the vows that you have committed and that you made with God, but I'm asking you tonight to ask God to remind you of the vows that you made. Please hear me. Because God calls the person who does not fulfill or delay his vows, the terminology or the phrase fool is being implemented. The Bible said when it's concerning fools, a fool said in his heart there is no God, right? The Bible even teaches us not to even use the word fool, but here in this context, it uses the word fool. The Bible said, whosoever shall say unto his brother, Raca, shall be in danger of the judgment. Whosoever shall say, thy fool shall be in danger of hell's fire. So God looks at that word fool as it being significant. But here it is in this verse. It said he has no pleasure in fools. There's no pleasure. Please hear me. There's no pleasure. Now, if I explain that, there's no pleasure, there's certain ways that God gets pleasure out of the life of people. Okay? One, the Bible gives us an indication when it was concerning the life of Jesus, that it said it pleased the Father to bruise the Son. That's one way, suffering. Suffering for a cause and a commitment. Jesus only came here, please hear me, because a vow was made by the Father. And I'm going to show you tonight, take you through scriptures where God made vows that he doesn't break. It's amazing that God would hold you to the same standards he would hold himself when it's concerning a vow. Woo. Woo. Your words are just like his words in the heaven. If you make a vow, if he makes a vow toward you, then he fulfills his vow. So he holds us by the same standard. This is why the Bible said, let your yea be yea, and your nay be nay. Or either let it be yes, or let it be no. Don't make vows. Don't make decrees, because your word become padlocks and your word become keys. Your word become concrete covenants that's established, that are created in the earth. Watch, that resides in the heavens. So I want you to understand how significant your words are to heaven when you make a vow. I'm going to show you something real quick. Just stay with me. I want us to go to 1 Samuel chapter 1. 1 Samuel chapter 1. 1 Samuel chapter 1. I'll start in verse 3. And this man went up out of his city yearly to worship and to sacrifice unto the Lord of hosts in Shiloh. And the two sons of Eli, Hophni, and Phinehas, and his wife, and to all her sons and her daughters' portions. But unto Hannah he gave a worthy portion, for he loved Hannah, but the Lord has shut up her womb. Y'all, please hear me. Hear this. And her adversary also provoked her sore, for to make her fret, because the Lord has shut up her womb. Now, I'm going to stop it right here just for a second to explain something. In verse 5, I want to go back to it. But Hannah, he gave a worthy portion, for he loved Hannah. Watch this. But God shut up her womb. Please hear this. God closed it. It seemed that this was unfair, that God would shut up upon. I want y'all to just hear what I'm getting ready to say, okay? Do you happen to know what the name Hannah means? The name Hannah means favor, right? This word Hannah in Hebrew means favor. Favor. Hannah means favor. Watch this. You mean to tell me her name does not recognize, or her name does not reveal her circumstance, right? You would think that her name would mirror. Her name would have an effect on her own life. How is it that your name means favor, but it feels that you're in an unfavorable situation? How is it that what you're called is not calling what you desire? Her name means Hannah, but she's in an unfavorable situation because God shut up her womb. Not the enemy, but God shut up her womb so she wouldn't produce. Hear me, please, y'all, please hear me. Please hear this, okay? Because Hannah's favor was not for her. Okay. Hannah's favor. Woo! Hannah's favor was not for her. Okay, I'll explain it. The Bible says, when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing, watch this, but yet he obtains favor from the Lord. Hear this. So because her name represents favor, her husband is married to her husband is married to her favor, and God opens the gate to her husband based on who she is. So it appears that her husband is getting the favor that she is, but she's still in an unfavorable situation. And God shut up her womb. To make matters worse, there's somebody else by the name of Peninnah. Let's go to verse 6. And her adversary, please hear me. Her adversary, please hear this. The Bible calls Satan our adversary. Yes, he is our adversary. Right? So we can see who's using Peninnah, because he's using the same phrase and the terminology of adversary, which means the devil has influenced her to now torment Hannah. The adversary also provoked her sore, for to make her fret, because the Lord had shut up her womb. Verse 7, and as he did so year by year, when she went up to the house of the Lord, so she provoked her. Therefore she wept and did not eat. I want you to see something, okay? I want you to hear this. God never wastes a moment. You may think that you are in an unfavorable circumstance or situation, and somebody's trying to provoke you. You have an adversary. The devil, your adversary, right, is as a roaring lion, seeking who he may devour. This spirit that comes to try to provoke you to come to try to torment you. And God have you in a season, please hear me, well, all the enemy can do is talk. Sometimes I like to use the phrase, the devil can be in your life in certain seasons like a mouse with the microphone. All he's doing is talking. It said it provoked Hannah. And please hear me, God never wastes an experience in your life. Please, I want you to hear these words. She wept and did not eat. Wept means to cry. Do you know that God never wastes an encounter or an experience? Please hear this. Never. If she wept, she shedded tears. You know what scriptures tell us about tears. The Bible makes a statement that God bottles those tears. And bottling your tears is signs of where your suffering came in, and the suffering of when you shed the tears will become a testimony later. Hear me. He bottles your tears as testimonies, as testaments of your pain. Yes. Testaments of your pain, they're bottled. But God uses tears often as seeds. If you sow in tears, God said you'll reap joy. And Hannah did not understand that her pain, her process was only pushing her in the place of something that she wanted that was a promise to all women. I want you to hear the pattern. There's a pattern. Your pain is pushing you in the place. It's called a process so you can get what God has promised all women, children. Your pain becomes the platform that God will use as a pattern to get you what he promised you. Yes, please hear me. Your pain is a platform, and God would use that strategy as a pattern to push you in the place and things that he has promised you. Don't ever allow or think that your pain is not for your gain. No. No. Please hear what I'm getting ready to say. When you look at the word against, Peninnah was against Hannah. Y'all, please hear me. Peninnah was against Hannah. And oftentimes we get so fixated and focused on who's against us, but forget what's inside of the word against. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Jesus, Jesus. When the Bible said all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord, that are called according to his purpose. And sometimes it may feel as if you don't know, because something is taking place in your life. You don't know that this is part of the purpose. Yes. You don't know this is part of God's plan. You don't know that this is God's pattern. And God has established a pattern on his pattern. And sometimes he'll use pain as your process and your progress. Sometimes he has to push you forward, even through the pain. And Hannah did not understand that her pain, and even though Peninnah was against her, in the word against is the word gain. And Hannah didn't know that she was getting ready to gain access. Yes, gain momentum, gain authority, gain power. She didn't know that what was against her. Yes, she didn't understand that what was against her, it was all for her good. It was working for her good. That was getting ready to be a gain in this. Hear me. Do you know what the name Peninnah means? The name Peniah means pearl. When you find Peniahs in your life, yes, Peniahs are people who forgot about their own process. Now they're causing others pain. Because pearls are only developed, watch this, through Lord Jesus. Pearls are only developed through irritation. Yes, that what holds those pearls or develop those pearls, they have to go through irritation, right? They have to go through irritation. Y'all, please hear me. So God was using someone that came out of their process to cause Hannah pain so that Hannah can become a pearl. Oh. Verse 8, then said Elkanah, her husband, to her, Hannah, why weepest thou? And why eatest thou not? And why is thy heart grieved? Am not I better than 10 sons? Wow. So Hannah rose up after they had eaten in Shiloh, and after they had drunk. Now Eli the priest sat upon a seat by a post of the temple of the Lord. And she was in bitterness of soul, and prayed unto the Lord and wept sore. Now I would say this, I want you to hear this, okay? If her heart was broke, do you think that God was absent? And some of you may be experiencing heartbreaks where you feel like your heart is broke. Your heart is hurting. But can I tell you what the Bible says? That God Himself is closer now with your broken heart than He was when your heart was mended. He's close to the brokenhearted. Listen, you can never be in contact or have a God as a healer and something is broken in your life that He don't want to fix, that He doesn't want to mend. He's known as Jehovah Rapha, the Lord thy God, thy physician. And whenever He sees there is something affecting a person's life, He moves closer to that person's life to change the outcome of that person's life. And Hannah was unaware of it, but she didn't understand that God was going closer. Watch this, please. See this. Verse 11. And she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thy handmaiden, and remember me, and not forget thy handmaid, but will give unto thy handmaiden a man child, then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come up on his head. If you only understood the vow that this woman made. In pain, I want you to hear this, please hear this. In pain, she still had the intestinal fortitude to push out a vow. Yes. Instead, watch, please hear me. I know that some people think that this was just simplistic and she just looked like she prayed a little prayer and all of that. No, please. This was not a selfish vow. She was telling God that if you open my womb, what you give me, I'll give it back. And see, her pain pushed her to make a vow. Some vows captivate heaven's attention, and God looks for us in our pain. Now, He doesn't require you to make a vow, but if you make a vow in your pain, He's going to expect for you to fulfill the vow in your pain. Y'all, please, because we make vows all the time and we break them. God is saying, if you make a vow to him. Hannah prayed a prayer that if you, please hear me, if you understood or did any research or studying, that she would make a statement, not only to give him back to God all the days of her life. Y'all, please, okay. All right. I want you to hear this, okay? And I'm going to try to my best to stay with Hannah, and I'm going to probably jump around for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to go home. That this woman, Hannah, would make a vow to God. Please hear this. Not only would she say that she would give him back all the days of your life, and sometimes we make vows and we become indignant givers. That we tell God we're going to do this, and then we take it back and we bring it in our own possession. This woman said, if you give me something, if you give me a man child, if you open up my womb, I'll give him back. Watch this. If you did any studying, she said that no razor would come to his head. If you found someone scripturally that never cut their hair and they came into a priesthood, they were called Nazarites. Samson, the covenant was for him never to cut his hair. The covenant with John the Baptist was for him to never cut his hair. These were priestly obligations that was given. And Hannah was saying that, Lord, I'll keep him. I'll give him back to you, that he'll be a priest unto you, that if you give me a man child. God made sure, watch this, that when she made her decree, she made her vow. He answered it. Well, hear this. That she knew that in having a child, she would bring forth pain. But she can endure her pain, the pain with her producing of the pain. She could deal with the pain of her producing, but not the pain of her not having. And she can make a vow. Please hear me. She can deal with carrying the child for 9 months and dealing with that pain, but couldn't deal with the pain of the absence of a child. And what God is trying to tell us tonight, that if you made a vow, this is the time to pay up. Pay your vow. Yes, in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 1, we say it all the time. There's a time and there's a season for every purpose that's under heaven, right? There's a time and there is a season. And God is saying this is the time and this is the season. For the vow that you made, it's time for you to pay. Some of you have made vows and told God that, Lord, if you needed an intercessor, I'll be your intercessor. Lord, I'll teach, I'll preach, I'll prophesy. I'll go where you tell me to go. Lord, if you want me to marry this person, I'll marry that person. Lord, if you want me to leave my job. You've made vows. And this is the season where God say, hey, you've made it. Now pay it. Lord, if you give me this job. Lord, if you give me this car, I'll come to church every day. Lord, if you give me this, I'll bring people to church. You made vows, and God said that this is the season that he's coming back for your vow. Y'all, please hear this, okay? Because God is looking at your words as his words. Because his words reflect his image. It reflects his likeness. So when it comes to your words, God said, my word cannot come back void, but it must accomplish what it was sent. It shows an image and a likeness of God. So God is saying it's time for you to display his image and his likeness. As he created you through words. Yes, every person that is ever born, that you are called by name. So whatever name you are called by, you're called by word. And God said your words carry weight in the spirit. So now it's time for the vows that you made. It's the vow that you paid. Watch this, please hear me. Because your vows or your words are currency in the Spirit of God. Yet this is your currency. You want God to tell you what to do next? Fulfill what you told him to do, because your words are currency. Yes. Hear this. Currency. Are you current on your currencies? Oh, let's say it again. Are you current on your vow, which is the currency of heaven? Could it be that your heavens are closed? Yes, because your words are not current, because this is the currency of heaven for you paying your vow. We try to hold God to his word. But what happens when in turn he hold you for your own? Please hear this. Isn't it amazing that she prayed year after year and never got a child until she made a vow? Ooh. She made a vow, and what was locked, God unlocked it because of the vow that she made. All of her prayers, listen, she wanted a child, but God wanted a prophet. God wanted somebody to be next. Didn't know that Eli, who was the prophet of that day, Samuel was his replacement. Samuel was his successor. And God needed another prophet in the earth while she was crying for a child. Didn't understand that she had to make a vow to heaven for heaven to respond to her, and heaven unlocked her. Could it be that God is waiting you to fulfill your vow because he needs a successor in the earth? He needs a replacement in the earth. And the last prophecy that Eli would speak would be to produce the child that Hannah made a vow for. This is your season. This is your hour. Notice it said God shut up her womb, but he unlocked it. One vow unlocked up her womb. Yes, one vow. She was no longer barren. Please hear me. And what tonight God is trying to say, that he's trying to remove any kind of barrenness from your life, but he needs you to fulfill your vow. Yes, he needs you to fulfill every vow that you made. This is that season to fulfill the vow. If you told God you're going to walk away from Johnny, goodbye, Johnny. If you told God you was going to walk away from Sue, you need to walk by Sue. See you later, Sue. It's time for you to fulfill your. Now watch how the enemy works, okay? The second that you made a vow and said you was leaving Johnny or Sue, then Johnny will become sweet to you. Sue will try to stick to you. And Sue will make sure that she do great things for you. Why? Because you made vows. So the enemy is trying to get you to break your vows by getting them to do something sweet for you and sweet to you. Yes, this is how the enemy gets you to break vows. But it's time to break the covenants and the vows, because God is trying to put you in a current. That current is a flow. And this is what brings heaven's currency. Now, my question to you, will your vow cause God to make one? Will your vow cause God to make a vow? Okay, well, let's see. Let's see if God makes vows. Let's see. That's not doggone phone. Y'all ready? Jesus Christ. I want us to go to Genesis chapter 9. Remember, a vow is a covenant. Right? When you fulfill your obligation, then God would fulfill his own. Yes. Your commitment, your covenant, your vows will cause God to create a vow for you. Watch this. Genesis chapter 9. Genesis chapter 9. Verse 1 says, and God blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon the fowls of the air, and upon all that moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fish of the sea. Into your hands are they delivered. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you. Even as the green herb have I given you all things. But flesh with life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall you not eat. And surely your blood of your lives will I require at the hand of every beast. I will require it. And at the hand of man, and the hand of every man's brother, will I require the life of man. Who shedded man's blood? I want y'all to hear this. By man's blood, his blood be shed. For in the image of God made he man. That is powerful. If you kill somebody, God said, then the same blood, your blood shall be shed. Okay. Another subject, another day. And you be fruitful and multiply. Bring forth abundantly in the earth and multiply therein. And God spake unto Noah and his sons with him, saying, And I, behold, watch this, I establish my vow, my covenant, with you and with your seeds after you, and with every living creature that is with you, of the fowls and of the cattle, and of every beast of the earth with you, from all that go out of the ark to every beast of the earth. Watch this. I'll establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood, neither shall there any more a flood destroy the earth. Watch this. 12. And God said, This is the token of the covenant which I made between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. Hear this. I do set my bow in the clouds, and it shall be a token of a covenant between me and the earth. Watch this. I want you to hear this. Because Noah's obedience and the covenant that he established with God, please hear this, that every time it rains, when you happen to see a rainbow, God said, This is my vow that I had made to Noah, I made to the cattle, and I made to the earth. God makes a vow with himself and with mankind and with the earth that it will no longer be destroyed by water. This was God's vow. So when you see the rainbow, you see the vow that God created with man, that he's keeping his word because of the vow. Oh, shoot. He keeps his vow. He's keeping his vow. And God desires for us to keep our vows when it's concerning him. I want us to go to Hebrew chapter 6. Hebrew chapter 6. Hebrew chapter 6. Ready? I wanted to take you to Genesis chapter 22, but I don't think we have the time to go to Genesis chapter 22 tonight. I said I wasn't going to be long, and I think somebody ain't praying for me. Verse 13 say, For when God made a promise to Abraham, because he could swear by no greater, he swore by himself, saying, Surely blessing I will bless thee, and multiply I will multiply thee. And so after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise. Watch this. We know in that particular chapter, that God called Abraham to bring his only son Isaac. Abraham would bring his son, was ready to sacrifice him, and God told him, Abraham, Abraham, stay your hand. God would now pronounce blessings upon Abraham's life, but God would swear, which means he would vow, make a covenant with himself, that when it was concerning the life of Abraham, because Abraham would make vows, but yet he would fulfill the vows that he would make when it was concerning God. And God said, because you have obeyed me, now I swear by myself that I will multiply thee. But the blessing was this. The blessing was this, and I want us to hear it by making a vow. God would make a vow to Abraham, watch this, that we are beneficiaries of. The vow that God would make to Abraham, we are the beneficiaries of that covenant and that vow. God would tell Abraham in the book of Genesis that your seeds shall possess the gates of their enemies, right? Gates. So one of the first things that was established against the church, and Jesus would tell that we would have the power to prevail, was over gates, and the gates of hell will not prevail against us, right? But God was expressing that to Abraham. So when you look in the book of Galatians, God come back to explain and express unto us, if you be in Christ, then are you Abraham's seeds of the promise. But we don't look deep enough or long enough to be able to see and tie Galatians in and tie Hebrew in to know that God would swear by himself when it was concerning the life of Abraham, and we are the beneficiaries, so that even if the gates of hell would rise against your life, if you are seed of Abraham, God is committed to that vow. He will give you the authority to now come against and destroy and annihilate and prevail over the gates of hell, because you are seed of Abraham, which God would swear by himself, because this was his vow. This was a vow. He swears by himself. Can I tell you what happens if you do not fulfill a vow? Can I show you? That when God gives you an assignment, he's committed to you fulfilling that assignment and those obligations. He's committed. You don't know not fulfilling a vow of heaven, that he would choose you out of a generation, choose you out of a bloodline to fulfill a vow that he may please. There's the Bible said that there are a great cloud of witnesses, okay? There's a great cloud of witnesses. These witnesses are in heaven because they came before you, right? But God promised them, y'all please to me. Can I take you to a scripture to show you something real quick, to show you how people died so that you can live, okay? I want you to go to Hebrew chapter 11. Let's go to Hebrew chapter 11. And then I'll take you through other scriptures to get you to understand what I'm trying to say. Hebrew chapter 11. Hebrew chapter 11. Let's get down. I'm going to start in verse 8. By faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out not knowing whither he went. Watch this. By faith he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in the tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, and heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city which had a foundation, whose builders and maker is God. Watch this. Through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed and was delivered a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. Therefore sprang there even of one, him and good and dead, so many of the stars in the skies and the multitude as the sands which is by the seashore unumberable. Watch this. All these died in faith, and having received, and watch this, all them died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off. Watch this. And were persuaded of them and embraced them and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims of the earth. Please hear me. I want you to hear what I'm saying. That all of them, they died in faith. I want you to hear this. They died in faith, believing God and paying their vow to God in their generation, because they saw God keeping his vow to the next generations. Just hear me. They died in faith, not seeing the promise naturally, but seeing the promise fulfilled spiritually. I'll give an example of somebody who was in our modern day time that people can recognize and identify. Martin Luther King. Remember, he said, I had a dream. And he said, I've already seen the promised land. I've already seen the outcome. God had gave him a promise that segregation would be broken. He saw segregation before the laws had passed and before the laws had changed. So Martin Luther King, when he dies in faith, as Abraham would die in faith. So the next generation could see the commitment and the vow that he had made to God. So with the same thing that would take place with Abraham, when the vows were made, God had made vows about the next generation. They'll be in Egypt for 400 years, but when they come out, they're going to come out with great substance. And his descendants were not there. His children were not there yet. God was making a vow in the heavens, but he was connected to somebody who was on earth that can make a vow that can unify the heavens and align with the earth, that heaven's agenda can now come into the earth, all constructed by a vow. Let me show you what it looks like to break a vow that is made. Go to 1 Samuel chapter 15. 1 Samuel chapter 15. Verse 1 says, Samuel also said unto Saul, the Lord sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore hearken unto the voice of the words of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him when he came up from Egypt. Hear this. Now go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, oxen and sheep, camel and asses. And Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Telem, 200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah. And Saul came to the city of Amalek and laid wait in the valley. And Saul said unto the Canaanites, Go, depart, get ye down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For ye showed kindness unto all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. Please hear me. God made a vow. I want you to see what happens. Because remember when I said that the patriarchs of faith, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Sarah, they all died in faith, believing that God would keep the vow that he had made in their generations to preserve other generations. He had made a vow. So God would make a vow in the book of Exodus. Go to Exodus chapter 17, please. I'll show you this vow in Exodus chapter 17. Exodus chapter 17, the vow. Sweet Jesus. Exodus chapter 17. Verse 14 in Exodus chapter 17, and the Lord said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, for I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under the heavens. Right? And Moses built an altar and called the name of a Jehovah Nissi. Wow. And we're talking about Jehovah Nissi, but don't know why the altar or the name Jehovah Nissi was even being displayed, because God was making a vow that he was going to wipe out the Amalekites. This was the vow that he had made. This is why the altar of Jehovah Nissi was established. And Moses built an altar and called the name of a Jehovah Nissi. For he said, because the Lord had sworn that the Lord would have war with Amalek from generation to generation, right? Now, if I take you back to 1 Samuel chapter 15 and go to verse 10. Then came the word of the Lord unto Samuel, saying, it repented me that I have set up Saul to be king, for he has turned back from following me and have not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried, watch this, unto the Lord all night. I want you to hear this, okay? How is it that we would make God look foolish by not fulfilling his vow that he had promised to generations to come? God said that he would wipe out the Amalekites, watch this, from generation to generation. And when it gets to Saul's generation, so we wonder why it appears that God was so hard upon Saul, but let David make many mistakes. Please hear this. Because Saul was assigned to fulfill the vow that God made to Moses in their generation, to wipe and blot out their names from the heavens. And he did not fulfill his obligation in his generation to the vow that God made to another generation. My question to us tonight, is God calling you to do something? Did he tell you that I need you to establish this business? Did he tell you that I need you to establish this church? Did he tell you that I need you to pray more? Did he tell you that I need you to be a teacher? Did he tell you that I need you to prophesy? Did he tell you that I need you to be a financier? Did he tell you that because you don't know the obligation and the vow that he's made to another generation and he's given you the obligation? Will you fulfill in your generation and pay your vow to God? Or will God tell Samuel? Would he speak these words that he told Samuel? It repented me that I had made Saul king over my people. You have to do a self-inventory tonight. What have you made a vow to that is not paid? Are you delinquent? Is your credit bad with heaven because you ain't pay your vow? Do you have a 400 when you should have an 800? What's your beacon score with heaven? Because you haven't paid your vow. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes chapter 5 and we'll close it. When thou vowest a vow unto God, delay not to pay it, for he hath no pleasure in fools. Pay that which thou hast vowed. If some of us, hear this, if you delay paying your light bill, what happens? Some of you try to call and make payment arrangements. Can I pay half a portion? How much can I pay? And then you get behind even further on a light bill that you could have paid, but you only wanted to pay half the cost. Yes. And eventually they turn your lights off and you're left in the dark because you didn't pay your vow. If that happens with your light company, what happens if the one that said, I gave, man, I'm the one that lights out, man? What happens if you don't pay your vow? Will he cut your lights off? Yes, your light should shine upon men. Yes, your light cannot be hid because your light is only here. What happens if you don't pay your vow? Will God cut your light off before men? Yes. Would you be in outer darkness because you didn't pay your vow? This is your season, your hour, and your moment to pay it. Hear this. And God would never ask you to pay what you didn't have the sufficiency to pay. This is your season to pay it. Hear this. And pay it in full. Yes. No partial payments in this season. Pay it in full. Pay your vow. You don't know how long our Father has waited for you, for this generation. Sometimes you have to do what Mary told the servants. Whatever he tells you to do, just do it. Yes. And watch the miracles take place, because whatever he tell you to do, watch this, you do it and you pay your vow. Hear me. I don't know who this is for tonight. If you're watching and you made a vow, it's time to pay it. It's time for the manifestation. It's time for the maturation and the materialization of heaven, so his kingdom can come and his will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Yes, heaven needs mirrors. But in order for there to be a reflection of heaven on earth, he needs us to fulfill our vows. Listen, I thank you for watching tonight, for tuning in tonight. You guys have a great night, and I'll see you next Monday on Merge.